Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up, you got the bloat, and you drag yourself to the closet realizing the only thing that's going to fit today are your stretchiest pajama or yoga pants? Or maybe you're sitting at the computer staring at the screen, watching that cursor blink, while your brain feels like it's wading through the sea of fog, willing words to come, but they just won't. Friend, I see you. Maybe you're curled up right now, wondering why your body seems to have its own agenda, completely separate from your carefully laid plans for the day. And when that happens, it sucks. It's frustrating. But what if I told you that this body that you have, even on those days where your thoughts are fuzzy or your energy is nowhere to be found, or maybe you're so nauseous you can't even think about food right now, yes, that body could become your greatest ally in business. Yeah, I know that might be hard to believe right now, but today we're talking about the mindset shift that completely transformed how I run my business. And it started with making peace with the one thing I used to see as my biggest obstacle. So whether you're having a good body day, or maybe you're alternating between the ice packs and the heating pads just to get through it, settle in with your favorite cozy blanket and let's talk about how working with your body, and not against it, might be the business strategy you've been searching for. Welcome to Chronic Illness CEO, where we're ditching the hustle culture and rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship to work for us, not against us. I'm Jessica Brown, a business strategist who knows firsthand what it's like to grow an online business while managing chronic health challenges. If you're done with cookie cutter advice that keeps you trapped in the cycle of push, crash, and flare, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll explore practical growth strategies for creating sustainable success. So grab your cozy blanket, your favorite warm drink, and let's discover what's possible when we stop fighting against our bodies and start building businesses that truly support our lives. I'm in my early 20s, huddled in my car during my lunch break, fighting waves of pain and nausea. I'm trying to breathe through it so I can finish the rest of my workday. I am so frustrated that no matter what I eat, or more aptly, what I don't eat, my body just won't cooperate. How am I going to build a career with my body acting like this, especially when my manager is giving me the frowny face and looking at me with disappointment? Fast forward to me in my 30s. My anti-nausea medicine, Zofran, is my best friend. It has kept me functional and allowed me to advance professionally and climb up the corporate ladder. I'm now at the director level, yay! But every night I wake up with pain and nausea at 2 a.m. It's like clockwork. Then I struggle to go back to sleep. Eventually I do, and then I push through the day with bloating and pain. And now I'm on my very first diet as I try to lose those extra 20 pounds that I've suddenly gained. I go to a new doctor only to have her tell me that my normal isn't healthy. Well, duh, doctor. I know I'm not healthy. My body is broken. Yet countless doctors couldn't figure it out to fix it. So I don't understand what the point is pointing it out unless you got a solution. Which, spoiler alert, at the time, she didn't, except to go see a new specialist. Then 2013 rolls around and I decide to make some pretty radical changes. I start my own business, I decide I'm going to prioritize my health, and I move from just outside of New York City back to the country from which I grew up in South Central Pennsylvania. I see multiple doctors, multiple specialists. I take hundreds of dollars worth of tests. I dive into the alternative and functional medicine space. I spend even more money trying to find out why my body is broken. I mean, we're talking test upon test upon test. Why can it not function? What is at the root of it? I was just trying to figure it out. And during this time, I'm really trying hard not to see my body as the enemy, but we do not have a good relationship with one another. By 2016, I have been on at least 3 different restrictive diets. At one point, I was taking up to 20 supplements a day, and I just hit my point of exhaustion. I give up on the gluten-free diet. I stopped taking all the supplements. I'm so tired of trying treatments that inevitably don't work. I give up on the hope of healing. I figure God must want me to be this way. It's like I'm the Apostle Paul from the Bible, and this is the thorn in my side. My IBSC is to keep me humble. I try to accept this. I try to make peace with this, even though it literally breaks me inside. My 2019 looked amazing on paper and on social media. I'm traveling for business. I'm making more revenue than any other year. I got a roster of amazing clients. I got speaking engagements. I have workshops I'm leading. I have multiple course launches. It looks fantastic. Everything seems great, but I'm sinking down into a depression. Not only my body, but my mental health is now betraying me when what should have been the pinnacle moment of that year at a business mastermind retreat in Jamaica. My body completely breaks down. I get sick, my brain stops working, and when it's my time to go on the hot seat, all I can do is cry. What's wrong with me? Why am I so broken? 2021 arrives. We've all survived one heck of a year. And despite the ups and downs and the isolation, I've successfully duct taped all the ragged pieces together. I've got so many good plans for the year. I'm hoping and praying that my body will cooperate so I can finally achieve my goals and feel like I'm moving forward again. Then in September of 2022, my father has a major health crisis. And I realized that I can't do that and my business at the same time. So at the beginning of 2023, I put my business on hiatus so that way I can be there for my family. And just as 2024 was rolling in, I'm thinking to myself, okay, things have settled. I can start dreaming again and figuring out my life. And then there was the plot twist. I had my health crisis. I went through such significant health challenges that completely dismantled every strategy, every tool that I ever used to push through. It forced me to fundamentally change not just how I worked, but how I viewed my relationship with my body. And today I want to share how this massive perspective shift from seeing my body as the enemy to recognizing it as my most valued business partner, just as it is, has completely transformed how I approach entrepreneurship. Because here's the truth I wish someone had told me years ago. Your body isn't trying to stop you from succeeding. It's trying to show you a better way to thrive. This mindset shift is actually the foundation of everything we've discussed so far. Remember the 4P Ops plan that I shared in episode 5, that prioritize, pace, pivot, and peace approach? It doesn't work without first understanding your body's signals and patterns. And remember the right strategy, right time framework from episode 6? Well, understanding your body's signals is the foundation to knowing your current capacity. The first and most crucial filter question. When you see your body as your ally instead of your enemy, suddenly all those frameworks become much more powerful. Now, before we dive deeper into this journey of transformation, I want to acknowledge something. If you're listening right now, perhaps nodding along to the parts of my story, recognizing your own struggles in mine, I want you to know that I see you. I see that determination to keep going, even when your body seems to have other plans. I see the frustration of trying everything only to end up back at square one. I see the heartbreak. Oh, do I know the heartbreak of giving up on treatments that promised healing but didn't deliver. And maybe you're in a season where you've tried every diet, supplement, and treatment you can afford, wondering if anything will make a difference. Or you're exhausted from explaining to people why you can't just push through or think positive. Or you find yourself apologizing to your team or clients when your body forces you to reschedule yet again. Or you're wrestling with feelings of guilt because your faith tells you to trust God's plan. But some days that's harder than others. Or you're watching other entrepreneurs scale their business while you're forced to scale back. And you're always asking yourself, what am I doing wrong? And let's be really honest about something. It doesn't get talked about enough in this business space. Living with chronic illness isn't about managing physical symptoms. It's also about managing the mental and emotional toll of never knowing which version of yourself you'll wake up to. Will today be the day your brain cooperates and the words flow? Or will it be one of those days where you can't even form a complete sentence? The online business world is full of advice about listening to your body and honoring your needs. But very few people are talking about what that actually looks like when your body and your business seem to be speaking completely different languages. When your body's firm no comes right as your business is screaming yes. When your heart says dream bigger, but your energy says maybe next week or next year. This is exactly why I want to share this journey with you. Because somewhere between all those doctor's appointments, the failed treatments, and moments of breakdown, I discovered something profound. The path to sustainable success doesn't lie in fixing our bodies or forcing them to conform to traditional business models. It lies in something that might feel completely foreign right now. It's learning to see your body not as something broken that needs to be fixed, but as a wise guide trying to lead you to a better way of doing business. And yes, I know that might sound impossible right now, especially if you're in the middle of a flare or facing another health setback. But stick with me because what I'm about to share isn't about pushing harder or finding another treatment to try. It's about discovering a completely different way to approach both your health and your business. One that could transform everything. The hard truth is, I used to see my body as the enemy. Every symptom was an attack. Every flare-up was a betrayal. Every rest day, every period of recovery, a day of defeat. I approached my health like it was a battle to be won and my body was the opposing force. I was a chronic illness warrior. But here's what I learned. When you're at war with your body, nobody wins. It took me years to understand this truth. Years of fighting, resisting, and trying to strong-arm my way through my symptoms. Friend, this is about something deeper than just surviving or pushing through. It's about the moment when you realize that maybe, just maybe, your body isn't your enemy after all. Maybe all those times you thought it was betraying you, the brain fog during important calls, the fatigue during launch week, the pain that shows up right before a big presentation weren't acts of sabotage at all. Maybe it was something else. This shift for me did not happen in some beautiful aha moment. It wasn't a gentle awakening or a peaceful transition. For me, it took being completely broken down physically, emotionally, and spiritually to finally stop and wonder, what if? What if my body wasn't trying to sabotage my success, but rather steering me towards a different way towards success? What if all these signals, the fatigue, the pain, the crashes, weren't attacks, but attempts at communication? What if God wasn't testing my faith with a broken body, but giving me the exact body I needed to fulfill my purpose? These questions changed everything, because once you start seeing your body as a messenger instead of an enemy, you begin to listen to what it's actually been trying to tell you all along. And just like any new language, understanding your body's signals takes time and patience. Think of it like this: your body is constantly sending you messages. But if you've spent years ignoring it or fighting against these signals, it might feel like you're trying to translate some cryptic code without a cipher. Here's what I started paying attention to. What were my energy patterns throughout the day, the week, the month, even the year? How did different types of work affect my body? What choices or activities constantly led to crashes? I also started paying attention to what helped me recover faster, or what activities or choices actually fed me or fueled me with energy. And when did I naturally feel more focused and creative? This process of learning your body's language becomes even more critical during health challenges. When you can no longer push through or ignore your body's signals, you're forced to stop and listen. And what I discovered was fascinating. My body wasn't just telling me what I couldn't do, it was showing me how to work in a way that could be sustainable long term. And you know what? I'm still learning the language. After maybe the last 6 to 8 months of really paying attention, here is what I've discovered. In this season, Tuesday through Thursday are my best days. It's when my brain is most willing to cooperate with things like content creation and strategic work. Fridays and Mondays are a mixed bag, and I find that they're more suited for physical activities like doing laundry or meal prep. And my weekends, they need to stay super low-key. It used to be that I couldn't do any social activities at all. It was just too much, but now I can include gentle social activities without triggering a crash. Whether you're in the survive stage just trying to get through each day or working to stabilize your business with more consistent systems, this process of tuning into your body's signals is foundational. The listening we're talking about is exactly what allows you to implement both the 4P ops plan and make the right strategic decisions with the right strategy, right time filter. I've also learned to recognize different types of too much. When I push myself too hard physically, my body demands a complete stop. Literally, I must lay down in order to recover enough energy to get back to a baseline. And that requires complete rest. But mental overwhelm, that requires a different approach. Instead of complete rest, I need to limit my stimulation. Maybe it's playing a cozy brainless game on my iPad, or taking Tucker for a walk, or cooking dinner with my husband. I just need to have my brain turn off. Has my translation been perfect? Absolutely not. There are still days when I misread the signals, where I try to negotiate with my body's boundaries, such as having this nostalgic pull to eating tasty cakes. They're, the little heart ones, the little heart Debbie cakes. My mom used to get those for us and put them in our lunchbox during the Valentine's Day week. And for whatever reason, I saw them in the grocery store and I'm like, oh, I need this. I need this nostalgic moment. Y'all, that was definitely no bueno for me. It probably never was. Tasty cakes and my digestive tract do not get along. And if I'm being completely honest, it didn't even taste good. The only thing was nostalgia. I should have just gotten heart-shaped cakes and let someone else eat them. But lesson learned. And that's okay, because this isn't perfection. It's about progress. It's about building a relationship with your body where you're finally working together instead of against each other. And here's where things get really practical. What if we stopped trying to build a business to spite our bodies and started building one because of them? What if our body's needs aren't limitations, but actual guidelines for creating sustainable business? This isn't just theory. Let me show you exactly how this plays out in my business now that I have made my body my number one business strategy. First, I had to get really honest about my triggers and patterns. What consistently was causing flares? For me, it was working too many hours without breaks or staying up too late with mentally stimulating activities. It was eating triggering foods like tasty cakes or having too many consecutive days of high effort socialization and certain caregiving activities that were emotionally draining. Then I asked myself, what were my natural high energy times? Well, I started to find that Tuesday through Thursday, really any time after noon through mid-evening, I have much higher energy. I don't know why that's my rhythm right now, but it is. And then I looked at what my energy drainers were. And I'll be honest, sometimes it's providing technical support for my parents, specific caregiving tasks, consuming negative news, attempting to multitask or do too many projects back to back, and definitely overcomplicated plans drain me completely. But then what fuels me? Brainstorming new ideas. Nothing lights me up more than brainstorming. Or creating content when my brain is firing. Marco Polo chats with my friends, connecting with clients during our sustainable strategy days. Losing myself in a great story, whether that's a book, a TV series, or a film. Snuggling time with Tucker and my husband. Spending meaningful time with my loved ones and my lake time with God. Once I had this understanding, I completely redesigned my business around it. I have a new daily routine. Instead of forcing myself into the typical early bird gets the worm schedule that so many business gurus promote, I honor my body's natural flow. Mornings are for gentle starts and preparation. I have no client calls or major commitments before noon, unless it's a doctor's appointment, and even then, it better be important. I use the morning hours for lighter tasks like journaling, setting up for focused work, spending time with God, walking Tucker. I try to make sure that during those gentle morning starts, I'm also doing something that's going to fuel me. I also changed my business structure. I remember when I used to try to do all the things. I was definitely part of #team-too-much. Now I've completely streamlined everything and simplified it down to one main focus, which is this podcast. Instead of multiple marketing campaigns and platforms, my content creation is scheduled during my peak hours, whether that is brainstorming my content or recording it or editing it. The tasks that require less mental energy, like administrative work, I save for lower energy times. And also sometimes I find that just creative work, like updating my business journal or designing something on Canva, is something that I can do also during those lower energy times that actually mentally energizes me. I'm actively working on automated systems to run, regardless of whether I'm available or not. I've created regular white space in my calendar that's non-negotiable. I've also made some significant changes to my planning approach. Gone are the rigid timelines and the hustle harder goals. Instead, I have flexible deadlines that account for health fluctuations. I don't even call them deadlines anymore. Literally, I have gotten rid of the phrase timeline and deadlines. I just use target dates. That's it. My projects are broken into small, manageable chunks. I might brainstorm the most epic project ever. And I will put all those ideas down into a notebook, and that becomes a backlog. And I just prioritize the things that are most critical to test initially to validate the offer. I've also built in buffer times for unexpected flares and for recovery time. I make sure I have regular assessments of what's working and what isn't, at least on a monthly basis. And I've been really careful about spacing out my social commitments and caregiving tasks to prevent overwhelm. I'm making sure I'm not overlapping too many things. And also, I've created this culture amongst my friends of awareness that what's going on with my parents and the caregiving I need to provide, that I might also have to tap out of future social engagements if something would come up. And we have made that an acceptable practice. There's no expectations of anything other than coming as you are when you can. Now, here's what's really fascinating. And it may seem a bit counterintuitive, but when I started treating my body as my most important business strategy, something really unexpected happened. I mean, I knew it was going to be important for me to do this, but I wasn't completely prepared for the result. Not only has my health began to stabilize and my energy levels are slowly becoming more stable, but my business became more focused and effective. I no longer felt like my business was running me. I also no longer felt like my chronic health conditions were running me. For the first time, I felt like I was intentionally designing my business in a way that was working for me. And dare I say, the peace that came with it made me realize I'm actually thriving. I have had the least amount of energy that I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm thriving more now than I was all the years prior. When you have limited energy, you naturally have to become more strategic about how you use it. You stop doing things just because other people are telling you to do them, because you can't. and you get really clear about what you can do. The problem is that when we're looking at our body as an enemy, we beat ourselves up for that instead of seeing it as a strategic move. We don't see, oh, I've gotten strategic about how I use my body's energy. We just see ourselves as, oh, my body's not working. But when we can look at our body telling us, hey, we need to do something different and we need to give ourselves permission to stop thinking that we have to do it the same way just because other entrepreneurs are doing it that way or other successful gurus are doing it that way, it enables us to get really clear and have the clarity on what actually moves the needle in our business or what actually is going to work in our life, and what actually is going to give us joy. When your body is your number one business strategy, you start making decisions based on sustainability rather than short-term gains. You're playing the long game. You're not just building a business that can survive until your next flare-up. You're building one that can thrive through all of your seasons. Is this way of doing business slower than the hustle harder approach? Maybe. But friend, it is so much more sustainable. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we're really after? Not just success, but sustainable success? My friend, I want to give you one small but powerful task this week. Just one thing that could start shifting how you see a relationship with your body. I'm calling it the body business log. All I want you to do is notice 3 things each day, and ideally keep a log. Number 1, when your energy naturally feels highest. Number 2, what is draining you, even if it's just one thing that drained you that day. Number 3, what energizes you. What was that thing that helped energize you or felt energizing? That's it. No complex analysis, no major changes yet. Just notice and jot these 3 things down somewhere. You don't need to do anything with this information right now. Just collect it, because sometimes our first step to transformation isn't making changes. It's just paying attention. Remember, we're building a sustainable business here, and it starts with gentle awareness. This body business log is actually the perfect complement to the 4P Ops plan I suggested in episode 5. While this helps you see the big picture of your business, this log is going to help you tune into the daily patterns that will inform how you implement each P. Together, they'll give you both the macro and micro view that you need to build a truly sustainable business. If you're sitting there thinking, yes, I want to create a business that works with my body instead of against it, but I'm not sure where to start, I want you to know that you don't have to figure this out alone. I've created something special called the Sustainable CEO Strategy Day. Think of it as a gentle but powerful day of collaboration where we work together via Marco Polo video messages to create a business strategy that truly honors your body's rhythms. No rushing to maximize a traditional hour-long call, no pushing through when you need a rest break, just a flexible, friendly strategy day that you can engage from your coziest spot at home. Throughout our day together, we'll map out your unique energy patterns and how to build your business around them. We'll identify what systems and support you need for those lower energy seasons. We'll create a sustainable action plan that works with your body, not against it. And more importantly, we'll do it at a pace that feels good for you. We'll apply everything we've discussed to your unique situation. In your personalized action plan, you'll receive a detailed section on energy management strategies tailored to your specific patterns and business needs. We'll map out exactly how to structure your business to honor your body's wisdom at whatever stage you are on the sustainable CEO pathway. You can learn more and book your strategy day at chronicillnessceo.com. Coming up next week, I'll reveal how a certification course completely changed my understanding of productivity and how this new approach might be the missing piece for entrepreneurs with chronic illness. It's a perspective shift that builds beautifully on everything we've discussed so far, and I cannot wait to share it with you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you're loving this episode and want to help more entrepreneurs with chronic illness discover that they don't have to sacrifice their health to build a successful business, and it would also be a huge help for this new show, I've got 3 quick ways you can help. First, hit that subscribe button. It makes sure that you don't miss any upcoming episodes and lets this platform know that our content is worth sharing. Second, if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Those ratings and reviews aren't just nice to read, although they totally make my day. They actually help push this podcast up in the algorithm so other entrepreneurs with chronic illness can find our cozy little community. And finally, if you know another business owner who's tired of the push, crash, flare cycle, share this episode with them, because friend, everyone deserves to know that there's a better way to build a business that truly supports their life. Until the next time, I'm wishing you a gentle day.